So, you want to get into gravel bikes? Well, the first thing you need to know is there are no rules. This isn't road biking. But here are some of the essentials you might want to consider after you've bought your gravel bike. Helmets. You can wear your roadie helmet. You can wear a mountain bike helmet. Most come with a peak. For 2 days a year, this will keep the sun out of your eyes. But for the rest of the year, it will keep some of the rain off your sunglasses. But don't wear one of these helmets. You can wear baggy shorts and a shirt. You can wear full lycra. You can even do it in the rain on a bike with one gear. I don't recommend it, but you can. You can wear cargo shorts and any shirt. Or you can ride in shorts and your favourite t-shirt on a mountain bike. Hang on, something's wrong there. These signs are your friend. Ignore them at your peril. This is where all the fun is. But when you see this sign, always explore. Some real cracking gems are found when you see that sign. And don't tip. To get away from this stuff and onto this. So we've looked at clothing, we've talked about getting off the tarmac and onto some off-road trails. But let's talk a bit about the bike, because there are some differences from your road bike that you might not understand or be a bit scared of. So let's go through it. Let's talk about stems. Now you might be used to having as long a stem as you can get and having it slammed down to the top of the headset. Well, on gravel riding, you want to be a bit more upright. You want to be able to see where you're going. It's not all about aerodynamics. In fact, it's probably not at all about aerodynamics. So, you're going to be running a shorter stem. Don't be afraid of it. It makes you slightly more upright. You can see the obstacles as they come towards you. And the bars, I'd say, go a little bit wider, and then it'll slow the steering down a little bit. Because yes, a shorter stem will mean quicker steering. However, the head angle is not going to be as steep as your road bike. So it's not going to be a right twitch fest like a cyclocross bike would be. That's where a gravel bike differs from cyclocross. So, ditch the 150, 170mm stem. Most gravel bikes will hover around 90mm. This is a super short one because the distance between here and here on this bike the Fussell Causeway is longer than your average. It's more of a mountain bike geometry, which is great for off-road riding. Probably, as you know, a road bike's better on the road, but this doesn't really compromise it. It's still as good on the road, or it's as good enough for me anyway. So, stems, don't be afraid to go short. Bar sweep and flare. So, this is the flare part. Your road bars will come down here, but these are flared out. This gives you a much more natural position on the bars. Yes, if you like this and you're tucked in, it's more aero, but like this, it gives you more control. It's more relaxing for long distances, over rough terrain and on the road. And then your bars flare out. So when you're riding technical stuff, you're going to be here because this gives you the most control. On the road, it gives you more aero. It might give you more leverage when climbing. I still climb on this part when I'm off-road or on-road. But when you're on technical terrain and it's really jiggling around, your hand's safe, it's not going to bounce off. A lot of people, they're used to riding on the hoods. But if you're bouncing around, the chances are you could bounce off that and lose control. Tuck in, grab this part, don't grip it too hard, no death gripping. These are the friendly part of the bars for off-road. Don't be afraid to get on the drops. That's what flare and the sweep. These have got a little bit of rise and a little bit of back sweep as well. Lots of bars are available. It's good to experiment. But I'd say, if you're running a shorter stem, go at least 2 centimetres wider than you used to on the road. It'll give you more control. And then the other benefit of having slightly wide bars with a flare is you can fit a bigger bag in. There's more room. Now, let me stop you there. I know what you're going to say. Why do I need a bag? I can stick everything I need in my back pocket when I'm out on my road bike. Well, when you're out on your road bike, you're probably not that far from a cafe or somewhere you can find an Uber to get you home. When you're out riding this sort of stuff, out in the middle of nowhere, you tend to carry slightly more stuff. You'll carry a waterproof jacket. I know you'll probably carry one when you're on your road bike, but these are probably a bit thicker, because if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're stuck, you have a mechanical, you want clothing to protect you. So have a bag that have that capacity. If you're just going on a short ride, stick everything in your back pocket if you've got any back pockets. But if you want to take all your stuff, you can get it in one of these bags, and you can take your sandwiches with you as well for a long distance. So you haven't got to stay at a cafe, stop at a cafe, because there might not be one for 70, 100 miles, depending on where you are. Now, of course, if you're bike packing, you'll have bags up here, you'll have bags here, you'll have saddle bags, maybe a frame bag. But let's not get into bike packing just yet, because we haven't bought our gravel bike yet. We're just pointing out what you might need. Also on this bike, and a lot of gravel bikes, you'll see these extra mounts on the forks. So you can basically run anything. You can put a cage that'll hold a tent, or in this case I've got a 76 Projects little piggy, so that's got a spare tube, multi-tool, tubeless kit, just so I don't have to carry it anywhere else. This bag from beerbabe.co.uk, just an extra one. I actually put my GoPro stuff in here, and this was made exactly for the Fussell Causeway. You might notice that this bike has a dropper post. You've probably seen these on mountain bikes. A lot of gravel bikes can't take these because of the frame geometry, or you can only get a little drop. If you can get a big drop in there, I'd definitely do it, because they're great for exploring. If you're on trails and you don't know what's around the next corner, it's great just to get that saddle out the way. You roll down your technical section, and then you get to the other side when you want to pedal, and it's just a lever push and your saddle's back right on the correct height for pedaling. So it's not essential, but it's definitely a luxury that's worth considering. Okay, let's talk gears. Now, on your road bike, you've probably got a double chain set, minimum 50 big ring. Pros a lot bigger than that, 54. You don't really need that on a gravel bike. Most gravel bikes with a double chain set will probably be maximum 46, 48 on the outside. Me myself, I go single ring, just because I don't really need the double chain set. If I ride in a group, it's usually with other people who've got the same one ring. If you're riding in a group and they've all got rings, double rings, or you're using your gravel bike in a road ride, you may need it, but that's something you've got to decide for yourself. But if you're running single ring, and now don't be scared, you can run a wide range cassette. Now, yeah, I know this is massive, but let me tell you, at the end of a long ride on a steep hill, when the bike is loaded down with bike packing kit, you need this 51 tooth chain ring. Any lower than that, you're trying to get out the saddle, you're losing traction on the back wheel, you're slipping all over the place. This one you can sit and spin, uses less energy, mated with a clutch rear mech. The chain's not going to come off. It's great. You know, I mean, you can run a double chain ring if you want, and you have a smaller cassette. But for me, and for mud clearance, you can see how muddy this is. Riding in the winter, a single ring is definitely the way forward. But that's personal choice. Tyres. Now, this is probably the biggest hurdle to get over if you're coming from a road bike, because you've probably seen people running 28mm tyres. Some of the Pro Peloton run 28mm. In Paris-Roubaix, maybe 30mm, and it looks massive. These are 42s. You can get a lot bigger. This is sort of minimum width, really, I'd say, for a gravel bike. So if you want to go bigger tyres, just make sure that the bike you get has clearance for bigger rubber. If you can get a 50mm in, that's great. But I definitely say 40mm is probably the lowest you should have. And then we come to tread. These are WTB Resolutes. I think these are the best all-round tyres, because they don't really roll any less well on tarmac than one with a less tread in the middle. But this amount of tread seems to be the sweet spot, especially for where I ride, because I can run these winter or summer and they just grip. It'll cut through the mud to find some grip. If it's hard baked trails, they'll just roll really nicely. So you can run really slick tyres if you want, but if you want to really get off-road and use the bike at its full potential, consider some with a little bit of grip. Have a nice solid centre ridge and that'll roll nice, but make sure the side lugs can give you some grip. And then we come to probably the biggest decision you're going to have to make, and for me it's a no-brainer, and that is tubeless tyres or tubes. You've come from a road bike, you're probably running tubes, because actually on a road bike 25mm tyres, tubeless just doesn't work, because there's not enough air in there and it all comes out at once when you get a puncture. And so if you've got sealant in there, it doesn't get a chance to work. On a bigger volume tyre, it will. And if you are riding off-road, you do not want to stop every 10 minutes because you've got a thorn in the tyre. Now, I think the last time I changed tyres, my old tyres, I had 5 thorns in the front, 2 in the back, and I never knew they were there. The tubeless systems now and tubeless wheels are so good. You get a thorn in there, the sealant comes out, it seals it, you carry on riding, and most of the time you don't even notice. If you do get something that won't seal, you can get the little bacon strip plugs, which are really effective. I've had to on occasion use a plug because I have something that won't seal. That's not very often. Probably 3 times in the last 5 years, which is pretty good going. And I've left it in. I might have checked it when I got home and may have put a little bit of super glue around it, but most of the time I just leave it in and just carry on riding, and yeah, I'm still riding the same tyres now. So tubeless, I would say it's absolutely essential if you're going to use a gravel bike for how it was intended, and that is to ride it off-road. Pedals, make sure you get double-sided pedals, because the last thing you want to do is to be looking down at your feet when you're riding something technical, to make sure you get your feet back in. This doesn't matter which side it is, you'll clip in. And a lot of the cross-country mountain bike shoes, they're not big and clumpy. They look like your road shoes, and they have the added benefit that when you walk into a cafe, you don't walk like a duck. You can actually walk in them. So I would say that's another essential. Some double-sided pedals and the associated shoes. Now I know I bang on about there being no rules, just ride. And these aren't really rules, they're just something you should think about before buying your bike. But probably the biggest one, and I think I said this is the biggest one many times in this video, but don't go automatically for a big brand, because a lot of the big brands have just repurposed their road bike, their drop bar bike, put some extra clearance for wider tyres, and haven't thought about the geometry. A lot of them you'll get toe overlap where your foot touches the front tyre when you turn at slow speeds, especially if you're running mud guards, and that's because it's just a road bike with big tyres. So check out the smaller brands as well, because most of the time the bike has been designed for the designer, because they've been out riding, they're not happy with how some of the gravel bikes ride, so they've designed their own bike, and they really work, and especially if it's a UK brand such as Fussell. It's Fussell's for Northern Ireland. You know, if it doesn't ride well in Northern Ireland, it's not going to ride anywhere well in the UK. So check out the smaller guys, and above all, have fun. That's the main thing. Just get out on your bike and ride. Don't really worry about the details, and that's all I can say really. Give it a try, because I think once you try it, you absolutely love it. You'll love the freedom of it. Just disappear, go and explore, go on a ride where you don't really know where you're going. Forget Strava, forget Komoot, go out on the road, go ride down the back lane. If you see a bridleway, go down it, and 9 times out of 10 it will go somewhere interesting, and it'll join up to another track that you've never ridden. That's the whole point of gravel for me. Fun. So thanks for watching. See, this is why you need to get off the roads. Traffic ruins your videos. Anyway, thanks for watching. This essentials guide, probably what I think are some of the essentials for gravel biking. If you're coming from a road bike, if you're coming from any bike, if you've never ridden a bike before. Thanks for watching. Check out ukgravelco.com, the website. Look at that, the sound of wood being sawn. See, proper organic. So if you can hear me over that, which I doubt, don't forget you can check out ukgravelco.com for more reviews of kit, a few articles about gravel biking. We've also got a shop with some nice stickers, t-shirts, if you want to support the channel. And let me know in the comments if there are any other things that I should have added or I've missed. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video.